Ah, Mega Man, what a trip it's been. From the first entry in 1987 through the glorious Super Nintendo X days and the oddly satisfying Legends sub-series, to all of the recent titles where, wait, what was that recent Mega Man game? Rockman X Over? Oh my god, this looks like a disaster. And a disaster it was. Coming out in 2012 for iOS only in Japan was Rockman X Over. And that got us thinking over here at Treesicle, what was the last good Mega Man game? When was it? And more importantly, what happened to Mega Man? First, there was the face-melting side-scrolling, and then there was the mediocre expansion to the third dimension, but have you ever wondered what really happened? Well, sit back, relax, and get ready for how a blue boy went from a pile of pixels to accomplished revolutionary of the video game art form, and then sucked. This goes beyond the obvious mediocre transition from 2D to 3D, okay? This is the story you never knew, and I'm a man who respects his brand! If you want to call it that. I feel dirty saying it. And I know I used the word art form, which is kind of pretentious, but hey, prepare yourself for the story of a franchise that was lost with the times, for the story of its genius and the full details of its demise and also possible rebirth. This is the story of Mega Man. The story ye never knew. To begin on an unrelated note, according to Wikipedia, there is a Brazilian Mega Man comic known for its, and I quote, erotic and sexual innuendo. And if anyone out there knows where we can get some copies, our writers need it for research. Anyway, so what happened? What happened to Mega Man? Mega Man used to be hotter than the sun, and now it's just a series of mostly fond memories. Ever since somewhere in the X series, something happened to Mega Man. A spark went out in the hearts of fans as the Blue Bomber started to show his age. Or whatever robots do. Rust? Probably. Either way, things just haven't been the same. Some of you kids out there might be wondering why anyone would give a crap about the series. But there was about a decade from the late 80s to late 90s where Mega Man was cherished by many. The Mega Man original series was incredibly, well, original. When it first came out, it was the first game to feature the characteristic feature of being able to choose your level. Wow! Then the next Mega Man added in a password system. The one after that added in unique characters, and Mega Man was able to use Rush, his robot dog. Yes, there was a time where A, that was a thing, and B, that was cool as hell, to help him in the middle of fighting. The series was just full of good ideas. And also bad ones. The first major offshoot of Mega Man was the X series, starting off on the Super Nintendo. Now this was the series that got it right. for the first 4 games. It had better music, better robots, better hair. They were just plain old sick, rad even. I mean good. But then as the X series kept coming, things just got worse and worse and worse until tragedy. Sorry, but if you make a game that makes people want to scream for all the voices to go away, and your game isn't a psychological horror game, you have failed as a game creator. If it is a horror game, you absolutely win. Seriously.
Congratulations! Congratulations! Congratulations!
But for everyone else, that, and much more of the game, is objectively bad. X8 was better. Then we had the Zero series and Battle Network. But then there was also Legends. Legends had an interesting take on the series. For those not familiar, Legends took place in the distant future, where everything about Dr. Light and Dr. Wily and the Reploids and Mavericks was all lost to the ages along the way. Wait, does this even count as a real Mega Man game then? Well, no, it's not. Legends isn't even starring Mega Man. It's starring Mega Man Volnut. It was simply a poor attempt at jumping into the 3D open space without committing to it. I don't know if they didn't feel like going in all the way, maybe they didn't have enough money to give it their best and then decided to make a Mega Man game or what. But it comes off weird. It was an attempt at something new, but inevitably a failure as the series died with its sequel. If more time and money was spent on this one, if they had the balls to make it Mega Man himself in the game, this video may have had a different thesis. Oh well. This wasn't Mega Man's only attempt at doing something different, however. I mean, there was Mega Man Soccer, but also the Battle Network and Star Force series, which were actual games. They both take many elements from original and X series, but Battle Network is an action RPG starring Mega Man EXE. They're really good games, but to be honest, if they didn't have anything to do with the Mega Man franchise, nothing would change. They are such a far departure from the core series of platformers that without the name being Mega Man, I wouldn't have known they were in the same universe. Regardless, what defines a core series Mega Man game is fantastic challenging level design, rockin' music, level choice, power-ups, and bosses with weaknesses. Your power-ups may also affect traversal through stages depending on the game. But just having these core designs doesn't make your game good, and taking them away and adding in other things doesn't work well for consistency. And consistency is everything, usually. But what you choose to be consistent about is also what counts. Now, you tell me, what would you prefer? Consistent gameplay every single game? Or consistent awesomeness while trying to do new things? While the first set of Mega Man games were great, time stops for no blue little android robo guy. In '93, the X-Side series was born, and soon after, the Blue Bomber hit a wall. That being the transition from 2D to 3D. For the younger audiences, let me tell you, there was a time when this meant a massacre for franchises. There were characters and stories forever lost because of this. And as for those that made the transition, it wasn't always pretty. But there's hope! Since we can assume you haven't been living under a rock on the moon for the past 20 years, you're probably well aware that Nintendo's Mario is alive and thriving. So are games like Final Fantasy and Grand Theft Auto. What, you thought Grand Theft Auto was only in 3D? Let's not forget the original GTA. Oh my god, it's like playing Motion Sickness, the video game! So we have some good games that both did and did not transition well to 3D. Yes, the third dimension. Many would argue the best dimension, and those who would disagree are dirty Flatlanders. There are three things you must keep in mind when transitioning from the second to third dimension. 1. Keep the pace and gameplay intact. Nobody wants to play Sonic the Hedgehog at 5 miles an hour. 2. One must ensure that the necessary field of view remains intact and appropriate. How are you gonna take out those dirty commies when you can't see them? And 3. You can't half-ass it. 3D does not make a game good, so everything you did before needs to transfer over with additional camera fluidity. We're talking detailed and exciting environments. Solid textures, good lighting, shadows, you get the picture. Mega Man screwed the pooch on all three. Legends, which was an attempt at 3D, had terrible controls, muddy graphics, and lacked the Mega Man appeal because it wasn't Mega Man. It was some future dude named Walnut. Then Mega Man X tried to go 3D and it all went to shit. Maybe up until then it was all luck for the franchise. It didn't hurt that when Mega Man was conceived, robot hype was at an absolute all-time high. Don't get me wrong, the original Mega Man games, especially 2, were masterpieces for the time. At the time, they were revolutionary. Intense difficulty in precision platforming coupled with fair, fast-paced gameplay. When you died, you knew it was your fault. Instead of getting mad at the game, you were encouraged to test yourself to push past your limits. There was no padding here. It was you versus the game in a perfect dance. At least for the core series. However, throughout the decades, this tried and true formula has been kicked in the balls. Obviously, traditional Mega Man games have always been sprinkled in, but the fact I can ask what happened to Mega Man and most people watching will be like, yeah, what did happen to Mega Man? It tells us the excitement for this once glorious franchise has waned. There must be a reason for this. Well, gentle viewer, there are many. Video games as media have changed drastically since the birth of Mega Man. Even the ones that use a similar style or formula have to innovate or they simply won't get off the ground. Super Meat Boy, for instance, uses a quick platforming style with incredible difficulty and a focus on fairness and repetition. The game managed to make its way into our hearts and minds without breaking the bank on insane graphics or even getting out of the 2D field. It can be done. However, main series Mega Man games never strayed from the basic format of, here's a set of levels, pick the level, beat the boss, get the power, move on! When Mega Man was dropped on the world, this was revolutionary. Just being able to choose your level was unheard of. So you can see what kind of open playing field they were working with at the time. But times have changed. There are so many developers out there with amazing ideas and the capabilities to make make them a reality. So much so, in order for something like Mega Man to shine in 2018, drastic measures must be taken, and they simply weren't. The games scaled well into the 16 and 32-bit era. By the time Mega Man 8 came out on the PS1, it seemed like they had hit their zenith. It looked like a beautiful hand-drawn work of art. However, by this time, some of the Rock Band solid gameplay had begun to wane. Around the same time, the MMX games were making their way onto the 32 and 64-bit consoles and were met with mixed to negative reviews. The magic was lost, the speed was gone, the story was repetitious, and the use of 3D space was poor. At the same time, other beloved classic characters were making a transition to 3D as well. Mario and Zelda's third dimension debuts, for instance, became instant classics. Zelda transferred nicely and naturally, keeping the same formula as the rest, but with greater cinematic appeal and a chance to add more layers to its world and puzzle solving. But Mario 64 was arguably a complete departure from the norm. This game was a series of open worlds inside of an open world, no time limits and open space to explore. A relatively lax and open story where you could more or less choose what you wanted to do and when to do it. But the Mega Man team refused to innovate, or at least commit to it. Something that people often overlook is that Mega Man X is not Mega Man. Mega Man Legends is not Mega Man, nor is Battle Network. That's X, that's Walnut, that's EXE. This is Mega Man, and he is the star of Mega Man. It's his own solid series of games. So while the franchise jumped into the PS2 era, Mega Man himself was left mostly on the PS1, and that was it. He didn't even reach the third dimension until a brief foray on the PSP with Mega Man Powered Up. However, this was just a remake of Mega Man 1, and was also given mixed reviews. After that, it was literally back to 8-bit Mega Man 9 and 10 on the Wii in 2008 and 2010 respectively. The X series died in 2004 with X8, and Battle Network followed suit the next year. It's hard to say whether it was the mess-ups of the X series that inevitably killed Mega Man, but I'd say it was. X was arguably more popular in the 90s with its edginess, and when its transition to 3D was lackluster, at best, it probably scared the main series guys away from continuing the vanilla games and or trying to innovate with them. But to say the transition to 3D killed Mega Man would be wrong. Mega Man never really went to 3D. The franchise did, but the Blue Bomber was simply too scared to go himself. Legends doesn't count, and was pretty mixed when it came to quality anyways, and the X series never did anything different except get crappier as time went on. What killed Mega Man was a complete lack of innovation. The fear of killing the series killed the series, and when 9 and 10 came out, they were mostly rehashes of what had already been done 20 years prior. This is something that still rings true today. I'm sure 11 will be fun. It's taken a step graphically, but it won't change the world. With video games, by and large, heading further and further in the direction of complexity, the Blue Bomber stuck to an archaic formula. A formula that started an empire which refused to take the creative leaps it needed in order to sustain itself. Somewhere out there is a universe in which Mega Man became the most revolutionary 3D run-and-gun puzzle platformer in history. However, this is our world, and in it, Mega Man is all but lost to the sands of time. Thrown into the nostalgia dumpster with Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, and F-Zero. While the new Mega Man 11 game may be fun, remember that because of the choices made by the people behind one of the best classic games of all time, it's still nothing but a budget title and a time sink. It sure isn't Spider-Man on the PS4, but it still looks cool. And that ain't too shabby. That's the story of the Mega Man series, the story of a little blue android from a time when robots were the hottest shit on the planet. The story of how one of the most influential and impressive series in the history of one of the largest and highest grossing industries of all time lost its way. That's the story of Mega Man. The story you never knew. And that's my take on Mega Man. If you ever wondered why the hype ain't what it used to be, now you know. But hey, Mega Man 11 looks dope. Anyway, if you liked this video, you should hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell so you get notified as soon as we post a video. We work super hard on these things, and we always love hearing what you have to say about them, and even love knowing people took the time to watch them. So hit subscribe and never miss an episode. Think of it as an information download from the Treesicle collective consciousness directly to your mind through your ears and eyeballs. Make sense? Great! You know what to do. So I'll leave it up to you to do it. I'm not much for making demands, more like strong suggestions. That's all I've got for today. My name's Grant, and I hope you have a lovely day or afternoon or night, depending on what time it is for you right now. I strongly suggest it. Bye, everyone!